are pleased to be joined by the one and only, the Hall of Famer himself, Jim Thome, who's going to take some of your questions from season ticket holders. Jim, how you doing?
Doing great, doing okay. Just ready for baseball to start back up and, just staying at home and playing our part here and, and just going through what, as Jason, just a time I don't think any of us have expected. And, just trying to do what's right and be positive, and hopefully we'll see baseball here real soon back in action.
Well, before we get into the season ticket holder questions, the one thing that hits me when I'm talking to you is you were such a team guy. You were such a teammate who wanted people to have a good experience. How does it hit you to know that people aren't getting to be with those others who make them better on an everyday basis?
I know it's tough because, going to spring training this year, there's been so much excitement. This. I mean, we're around the ballpark. We hear the vibe, the positivity of our club here in Chicago, living in the south suburbs, and people that are just so excited for our club to finally get out there. I feel so bad for our guys because they've put the work in. They've done everything preparation-wise and more, and this is their time. This is their journey to become, everyday major league players. And even some of our kids in the minor leagues, they're ready to go too. And during this time, what you hope happens out of all of this. And I remember looking back in '94 when we went on strike. I think what it did to our club, the Indians, because when we started back up in '95, we went 144 that year. That was our record. And it really drove our club. We had a good club in '94, but it really took us over the top as far as focus, getting, and just really wanting to play baseball and show the world, how good that we thought we could be. And I think that's what you're going to see with our White Sox is they really want to show not only the Chicago people, but also the world how talented they are.
I totally agreed. I get that feeling too, and that they want to help Chicago heal as well. I think there are a lot of guys in the clubhouse who understand that too.
No doubt. And they're a tight, close-knit group that, the old saying of a brotherhood. And I was fortunate to play on some great teams that we were all brothers. This club, watching them and seeing them, especially now with social media, you can see how much they truly care about each other and they root for each other to do well. And that's, in the long run, I think when you look up 2, 3, 4 years from now, cross our fingers, we win a couple championships, that's what you're going to look back and you're going to go, what? It all started, maybe during a time that we had to really stick together and be positive during a tough stretch.
That's a great sentiment, and it's a great look forward. Let's get into the season ticket holder questions because there are some doozies here. This is one of the most elaborate season ticket holder questions. I could start with the easy ones, but I love this one. It's from Jim, who's from Chicago. He sits in the scout seats. He says, you have one at bat and you need to get a hit. Which of the following are you going to face and why? And who do you want no part of? And he gives options here.
Okay.
A, Roger Clemens. B, Pedro Martinez. C, Randy Johnson. D, Greg Maddux.
And these are the ones that I don't want to face?
Now, which of those four who would you say I want to face, and who would you say I definitely don't want to face? So
so let's start with who I don't want to face.
Yeah.
So let's go Randy Johnson.
Lefty, yeah.
I mean, that's way up there on the list because, for years as a young player, I would get days off only because, look, at the end of the day, as a young player, and I credit Mike Hargrove. He didn't want me to, he didn't want to set me back for a week to 2 weeks facing a guy like Randy. And the fact that Randy would have gotten me out, is probably there more than not. So, and then the guy I really liked to face was actually Clemens.
Really?
I felt really good. I would say Clemens, Verlander, and Rick Reed in my career, I really felt very comfortable on all of those guys. And then the other two were who? Pedro, and who was the other guy?
Pedro and Greg Maddux.
Okay, so Maddux was interesting because Maddux really, you didn't feel uncomfortable. He was just so good at adding, taking off. I would say, I didn't mind facing either one of them. I'd have to look at the numbers, but I would say looking at them, probably wouldn't want to face Pedro, and I would face Maddux.
Just because Pedro's stuff was a little bit more.
I mean, Pedro was absolutely electric.
Yeah,
I mean, he set the tone of the game, and and they're all look, all four of those guys, they're Hall of Famers.
Right, they're all great.
They're great pitchers, and but yeah, Pedro, and I would say Randy were the two I wouldn't. Yeah. And then I would say Maddux and Clemens I would.
That's a doozy to start from Jim. Jim was thinking that over for a while. Jim,
I'm going through my mind, going, okay, their stuff. How did I fare against them? But
Jim Schultz here, who sits in the scout seats. That's a good question. That's a good start.
That's a good one. I like that.
Deep on that. This is from Tom in Woodridge, who says, and this is a tough one too. And I know you're not going to be able to pick one, but who's your favorite teammate with the White Sox?
Oh, man, I love Paulie. I mean, Paulie and I connected. I loved, I loved all. You talk about brotherhood. I mean, we had so many great guys. I really connected with Konerko because, we hit in the middle of the lineup. I mean, Paulie, he would go through stretches kind of like me where we get hot, then we get cold, and we kind of would – like we would run things off of each other. Hey, how's he pitching you? How you getting, how you feeling? We would sit around after games and really talk the game, especially if we lost a game, and what some of the things as leaders we thought we could do to help us maybe improve or help young guys. And obviously that was Ozzy's job, but as a leader too, being, as a player, there's always little things too you can say to players to motivate them, explain the game when a young player makes a mistake. Paulie was always really, very, he always thought things out before he spoke. And that's the one thing I admired about him so much. Whether it was his fielding, his hitting, making a sandwich, going to a restaurant. I mean, this guy he was so, thought process of everything. And we connected like that. And there were a lot of things he helped me out later in my career. And I would hope there were some things that I helped him out, in his journey, in his process too, of, I remember telling him, look, Paulie, a game, there's a basket. And every day you play a baseball game, put something positive in that basket, a run scored, a walk, a base hit. Obviously, a home run and RBIs they're way up there. So when you accomplish those things, really take away the positives, because our game can beat us down so much. Yeah. And that I hope I helped him out a little bit.
That's great. This is from Howard, who asks about another teammate. He says, what was it like when you had to play against AJ?
AJ was a great competitor. He really was. He drove. When you played against him, you really wanted to beat him. I mean, there was no doubt about it. Like AJ, he was fiery. He loved to win. And then his demeanor and the way he acted on the field drove you as an opponent to want to beat him even more. Yeah. Now, when I was his teammate, there's no better teammate, really. I mean, this guy, of all the great things and preparation, early showing up and getting his work in, with the rapport he had with his pitchers, smart, really intelligent guy behind the plate. I mean, I've said it. I mean, AJ one day could be a heck of a manager because I think of all the things, that he does well to prepare for the game. And let's face it, AJ could hit. AJ could hit in the middle of the lineup, and he could put the bat on the ball. He could hit home runs. More importantly, where I think it got overlooked, when you had guys in scoring position, AJ made such good contact that he would put the ball in play.
AJ has done something that you've done as well as a transition from player to analyst. And so Lisa from Orland Park asks, how has that transition gone, becoming one of us, becoming a broadcaster and an analyst?
Well, I have got to tell you, I never thought I would, when I stopped playing after 21, 22 years, get right back into the game. And I've got to tell you, like, doing my White Sox job has been amazing. I love it. You're around kids, you're around the big league, you're just learning the side of the front office. When I got hired at MLB Network, I didn't really know a lot about being an analyst. I knew what I knew, and that was my baseball history and just playing a long time. I've got to tell you, I've really enjoyed working there. It's a great team concept. We all stick by each other. We all root for each other. And there's some great analysts. I would say for me, it's been learning daily, and the more I work, the more comfortable I get. I'm 3 days a month, Jason. So I'm not there, 20 some days a month. So the days that I work, if I work 3-4 days, about the third day, I really start feeling very comfortable.
Yeah.
And I love going to Studio 42 and demoing and breaking down hitting segments that many great hitting instructors have helped me over the years, and use that platform to help young kids maybe in their hitting.
You were built for that. I love watching those hitting segments you do.
Thank you.
It's fantastic stuff. And by the way, MLB Network, I don't know if people saw it, but last week or so, you cut a promo with all of you playing catch, and it was just nice to see your sweet swing again.
Thank you. Landon and I, during this whole quarantine and being indoor, we've set our garage up. So we've been kind of running a little mini spring training. So I'll put him through some workouts, and he'll say, "Okay, Dad, now it's your time to hit." So I get out there a little bit, not much, but it's fun. Anytime you can swing a bat is always fun, for sure.
Yeah, it looks the same. I mean, the swing looks the same. We could put you out on the field right now and get it going. Howard from Highland Park asks, if you hadn't become a professional baseball player, what job would you have taken?
Oh, I'd probably still be in Peoria. That's a great question. I don't know. Maybe a coach. Yeah. Maybe a coach somewhere, high school coach, or I've always loved the game. I mean, that's something that I don't ever think will ever or would ever leave me. And the passion of playing the game and just helping kids, there's nothing better, whether it's a 12-year-old or a young minor leaguer, to watch them, improve and succeed. There is nothing greater than seeing a 12-year-old smile, or going to the minor leagues when a Matt Davidson was in Charlotte, and to see his journey to get to the big leagues, and then he'd start having success, and to know that at the end of the day, he accomplished it on himself, but we as instructors and front office personnel may have had a little bit of to do with that to help him out. And that's the enjoyment of doing my job with the White Sox.
Yeah, I could see you being a coach real fast, actually. That makes a lot of sense.
Thank you.
Dylan Mack from Lombard. We'll end with this one. Dylan, and this is, I don't know how you're going to pick one, but Dylan wants to know, what was your favorite moment playing with the White Sox?
I'd probably have to say the blackout game. We just did the interview on the blackout game. you know, that whole game, to watch our crowd. You think about it as a player, you come out, you warm up, you know, and, you know, you see the crowd. They're excited, they're ready, they're pumped. That night there was something different. It was different. It was different because everybody was wearing black. And then the excitement of what they brought intensity wise. And then the fact that, you know, hitting a home run, a big home run in that game in the 7th inning that put us up 1-0. It was such a well-pitched game that, you know, look, you know, the 500 homer stands out. It was a walk-off. It was a great, you know, but getting your team into the playoffs, which we all work so hard to win a World Series and to at least put your club in a situation to get into the playoffs, to get there, that blackout game was incredible, and it will always be incredible for me.
Jim Thome, it is so refreshing to just hear your voice and chat with you about White Sox baseball and baseball in general. You're a Hall of Fame human being. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. And I look forward to seeing everybody out to the park. I hope it's sooner than later, and we can show the world how well our kids and our young kids are improving, and hopefully we can start our journey upward on the winning percentage here and get going.
Let's do it. Jim, thank you so much.
Thank you.